What is up, everyone? My name is Jerichoholic8704 alongside...
I'm Edgehead3131. What's going on?
Alright, so pro wrestling commentators are up for the tier list today. We are strictly doing ring commentators. We're not doing ring announcers or anything like that. This is strictly in-ring commentators.
Out of the ring commentators, but yeah.
That's true. Yes, of course. Calling the action in the ring, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So, in order to celebrate, as always, we don't just do random tiers here. We decide to go with the theme. So we have some of our favorite JR quotes. So for top tier, we have Slobberknocker. A tier, we have By God. B tier, we have $2 Steak. C tier, we have The Scalded Dog. And in F tier, we've got Mud Hole. You don't want to be a mud hole. So
don't want to be a mud hole.
Yeah, and I know you have an honorary member of Slobberknocker. I know deep down.
My honorary member for Slobberknocker is the longest tenured, at least like consistently, like every show where they have it, the longest tenured commentator, and that would be Mr. Carlos Cabrera. Absolute S tier. He's been doing it longer than anybody consistently for the same company. And while I don't listen to my WWE commentary in Spanish, by God, if he isn't a Slobberknocker of an announcer.
Damn right.
Same can honestly be said about Funaki. Maybe not S tier for Funaki, but like when he would like hop on commentary like during some matches, like he was pretty solid on commentary. He was really funny.
Moving on. Now that we have our honorary mentions out of the way, I want to start with another S tier. We have Gordon Solie, who is well before our time.
Before.
When we were making this tier list and we were throwing out names, Gordon Solie was the first one I put in, and I thought it was kind of like when we put Trish Stratus in S tier for our waifu tier list, even though Trish Stratus was during our time. So like it's not exactly equivalent here, but it's almost like we would be losing credibility if we didn't do it. So Gordon Solie, even though he is a more historical figure for us, we both respect the fact that his name and his voice is pretty much plastered on all classic wrestling.
Again, well before our time, but like we would in fact lose credibility if we didn't mention him. Like he is like one of the most iconic voices, not even like as in terms of commentary, but just in wrestling in general.
And his voice is actually very interesting. It has he's not overbearing in any kind of way, but he has a very it's kind of like a Jim Ross, where it's like a very recognizable direct voice that's not overbearing in any kind of way or attention seeking. That's what I kind of like about Gordon Solie commentary. So but yeah, just all around solid commentator. And it's really funny because our next one is Josh Matthews, who I think we both unanimously agree goes into mud hole.
Goes in the mud hole. I will say, once he transitioned from WWE to TNA or Impact or whichever you'll want to call it, I definitely noticed like a rise in like I guess his commentator ability. Most of the people he was paired with, like he was never the main commentator before making the move to Impact, and he was like he would just chime in and have little like snippets and like make small comments, but like he was never like the main commentator, and he never felt like the main commentator. And usually whenever he added something, it was beating a dead horse, quite literally stomping a mud hole and walking it dry.
I will say
we
this.
got the point.
I think my resentment towards Josh Matthews is more just for his personality. I've never liked Josh Matthews. I think he's just kind of a dick.
Okay.
Overall, I just you probably gave a more fair assessment than I would of Josh Matthews. I'm just gonna leave him at mud hole, and I'm gonna leave him at that. All right, that's just that's what it is for Josh Matthews.
No, for sure. Also, I know that we're talking about commentators, but when he started, his fucking frosted tips,
and then he had curtains at one point too. I think in like the mid 2000s. He did have the curtains. So yeah,
they're pretty buns.
Josh,
they were pretty buns.
Get out of here, man. All right, Jonathan Coachman. This one's another one that's it's pretty low. Now, would you go mud hole?
I think put him in mud hole now, and we'll see where he pans out later.
Dude, okay, but wait, hold on. I'm looking at other people. I think
he's Scalded Dog.
I think he needs to go to Scalded Dog. It's not Josh. Jonathan Coachman. He definitely had some boners here and there. I think like one of the big ones was
Some
I remember
boners.
vividly. I think it was Money in the Bank. I think it was when it was I can't remember who, it might have been Nia versus Ronda Rousey. Don't quote me on that if that was the match, but I thought like there was a bear hug, and like Jonathan Coachman basically said like, "Oh, this is a rest hold so she can breathe." Like he basically just exposed the business right there
I
on
remember
commentary. And Michael Cole, and you know it's bad when Michael Cole and Corey
Michael
Graves bury
Cole's
you.
correcting
They're
you.
like burying you for being an asshole. So like, yeah, Jonathan Coachman, he definitely is bottom tier, but again, I can't put him in mud hole. Now Gino Gambino,
Yeah, he's lower tier. Dude, I fucking hate Gino Gambino.
dude, I'll give you the
Gino
rants.
Gino Gambino is lower than Josh Matthews for me.
Oh wow,
Dude,
wow.
I fucking hate Gino Gambino.
Listen, here's the thing.
I'm sure he's a great guy. I know he does, especially like with where he's from, you know, Australia, Oceania, etc. I definitely butchered how you pronounce that, but regardless, he's done a lot of like great humanitarian work. However, this is solely based on commentary. And dude, he just like he takes Mark to a whole new level. Like he is literally Damien Mizdow on commentary just with how much he sucks off like the Bullet Club, I guess.
Listen,
I can't stand
I
him.
don't have like I don't really have a strong preference for Gino Gambino. Like I'd probably put him in Scalded Dog, but you're very passionate about it, so I will throw you a bone and stomp a mud hole in him. Moving on,
nice.
moving on to Bobby Heenan. Listen,
That's tier.
I think we got to
That's
put him in
fair.
Slobberknocker just because so many great lines, so many amazing funny moments, a legitimately funny commentator, if I do say so myself. You know, he kind of got off the rails in Nitro when he was basically drunk on every show. But
Yeah.
Bobby Heenan's voice, I mean, like I mentioned with Gordon Soley, how Gordon Soley had a very kind of like not soothing, but I guess soothing would be the word I'm looking for. A very comforting voice. You know, you felt kind of at home with Gordon Soley. Bobby Heenan was a great heel commentator in that, like, his voice, it isn't grating, like it's not annoying. It's just it's very biting. He's just got and he has a biting sense of humor. He's just biting in general. So I really appreciate Bobby Heenan, just total package when it comes to commentator. And he worked like his time with Monsoon. I thought they bounced off each other really well. And of course, everyone's favorite, you know, Jannetty diving out the window to escape. I mean, he thought on his feet. He was a really great commentator.
And not even that, like he was literally like, and I know like that's what his nickname was, other than the brain, but like he was a weasel. Like everything he said, like you said, his voice wasn't grating or anything, and like what he said wasn't grating. What I would say is like it fit, and you said great heel commentator. Like you said, him and Monsoon, they just worked off each other and like bounced off each other, probably better than every other commentary duo, maybe with the obvious exception. I just think they bounced off each other so well. Their chemistry was so organic. None of it was forced. And with both of them, that was before like everything was scripted. Like that was genuine commentary. That was literally them talking about what was happening. They knew like what the big spots were, but they genuinely were like commentating, genuinely reacting. And I think that's one of the reasons why I view both of them so highly, him and Monsoon. I mean, while we're at, just put Monsoon and Slobberknocker.
Yeah,
there's no
Monsoon? Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, we can't
like I said,
you got to.
Yeah, no, literally the best dynamic as commentary.
I recently
Again,
liked a tweet. I can't remember who tweeted it out, but like someone just started like listing all of Monsoon's quotes. The one that really got me was tutelage. That was like the one that was just like super Monsoon. I fucking love that shit. But yeah, Gorilla Monsoon, again, kind of like everything I just said about Bobby Heenan. But again, like almost reverse with his voice. I just like there's something that like is very underrated about a commentator. Like everyone focuses on like their, you know, how they call the action, their catchphrases, how they can connect with the audience, and that's all important, sure. But you know, if you're going to be essentially like a radio host, which is essentially what a commentator is at this point, you know, we don't see you, we just hear you. You do have to have a good voice for it. And I think this is, again, where Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan really deserve a lot of credit for, and this is just a natural talent. You know, you really can't teach something like this. They just had amazing voices. And I think Monsoon, it kind of like, you know, like he's like the JR of, you know, before JR, you know, like everyone talks about how JR's voice is plastered among a lot of like Attitude Era moments. But like, you know, I think about the Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant and
Andre the
hearing
Giant.
Monsoon with the look at this, he slammed him. Like that shit is just iconic. Like there's so many great things about Monsoon. Just again, we can't beat around the bush. He's S
Can't
tier.
beat around the bush.
S tier.
They are, yeah, S tier. Again, in my opinion, the best commentary duo probably ever.
All right, so moving on, we got Mauro Ranallo, a kind of a renaissance for the commentary team in a lot of fans' eyes, but I don't know. What do you think?
We talked about it before we started recording, like when we were compiling like this list of just absolutely fantastic and the furthest thing from commentators. And I made the comment that Mauro Ranallo is a great commentator across the board. But personally, I liked his NXT work exponentially better than his SmackDown work. I was never huge on him on the main roster, but I feel like once he went down to NXT, like he was able to be himself again. Like I feel like with him, like not everything was being like fed to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like the way he commentated. I'm gonna use sort of what you were talking about with Hogan body slamming Andre. The way that he just like reacted to any of the Gargano Ciampa matches, just calling Ciampa a sick, sadistic son of a bitch, like it was just like I felt that like every word
I agree
that he said during that
100%.
feud
I
was
think
phenomenal.
Mauro Ranallo's biggest strength, I think, was being passionate. And like they had the camera on him for a reason. Like his reactions were very, you could
They
say
were priceless.
you could say they were played up for the camera a little bit if you want, but I think there was a lot of genuine emotion in Mauro Ranallo. I think he should go in by God. I don't know if he's on the level of these classics right here.
I would agree with that for now. Again, that's one of the ones like we'll see where he pans out, but a phenomenal commentator nonetheless.
Yep. All right.
Isn't
So
he commentating for UFC now?
I think so. All right,
Good for him.
Beth Phoenix. Listen, I don't know. Like, listen, Beth Phoenix is not good, but I don't know if she should. I don't know if she deserves to be amongst.
I don't think she needs to be amongst the mud holes.
She's more like an offense. No, I mean, like she can be kind of offensive sometimes.
She started out very not great. I'm gonna say it.
I don't think that's a hot take at all. I think everyone would agree with you.
I know. But like since then, like that was what, like a year and a half ago. I mean, like, you know how I feel about Edge, and I know it's his wife.
Dude, she
like,
adds
she gotten that much
nothing.
Better?
She adds nothing. But like I'm gonna put her in Scalded Dog just because like if we put Coachman there, like I think we can put Beth there. It's just like I don't hate Beth Phoenix. I don't
hate Beth Phoenix either.
It's just like I don't care about her commentary. So I'm gonna leave her at Scalded Dog. Schiavone.
Schiavone.
So, I mean, like, I think $2 steak at the very least, but I mean, like, Schiavone kind of has, like, a lot of, iconic...
He's got some by God qualities.
Yeah, and he has a very iconic voice. He's more associated with WCW. So, like, when I think Monday Nitro, I think of Tony Schiavone. So, I mean, for that, I'd put him in By God. I don't know if that rings well with you.
Yeah, I'd put him in By God. I definitely think like the best commentator in AEW, if I may.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a hot take either. I definitely think his hype is like deserved for him. I will say, I think he's definitely at least By God for the sole reason that he took a 20-year break from the business, came back like he never missed a beat.
Yeah, no, and I think like he still has it. Like when Sting came back and hearing Tony Schiavone mark out was like pretty awesome. So like I think he's still got it in his veins. Like I'll give the rub to Tony Schiavone. All right, Booker T. Listen, I can't put him in Mudhole, even though he probably deserves that because like Booker T legitimately made me laugh sometimes just because of how bad he was.
All of his catchphrases were just bananas. They were so funny.
I think we got to put him in Scalded Dog, right?
I think he's got to be in Scalded Dog.
He's not good by any means. Like no way.
No, not at all. And the same can be said like now when you look at like his pre-show stuff. Like it doesn't. I feel like he doesn't necessarily add much. I feel like he didn't really add much. Don't get me wrong. He made me like piss my pants laughing a couple of times The very first time I heard Shucky Ducky Quack Quack, I was like 11. I was like, excuse me. But like, yeah, he's definitely Scalded Dog. Like,
All right.
he was just repetitive. That's the word I'm looking for. Like the Fave 5, like weren't you on the Fave 5 at one point?
I think he was. I think he shouted out Jericho Hog 8704, shouted out some other classic wrestling YouTubers while he was at it. Like he was a man of the people. So like that's why he's not in Mudhole.
Yeah, that's the only reason he's not in Mudhole.
Right, so listen, Kevin Kelly. I don't know how you feel about this, but I think Kevin Kelly is S tier. I think this
is S tier.
Dude, listen. I didn't feel that until I started watching. When I started watching New Japan religiously, I was kind of a Japanese commentator purist, just because I liked just like the emotion of Japanese commentators. But like I kind of converted to the English commentary because Kevin Kelly was so fucking good at explaining all the backstory, and like really like Kevin Kelly was so good at like striking the balance between like explaining and leaving the wrestling to kind of tell the story for itself. You know, one of the problems people have with WWE commentary is how they just beat you over the urethra with all the details and explain everything for you like you're an idiot. Kevin Kelly provides you with enough information for you to infer everything that happens in the ring for yourself. But like he's a guy, like he literally does everything a commentator should do. And, you know, he has some classic like catchphrases like the Destino and then that shit. You know, he has like his kind of cheesy announcer quirks. So I mean, he checks all the boxes there. Dude, I think Kevin Kelly is like modern day, like he is the best. I fucking love Kevin Kelly. And he does such a good job of, and especially since New Japan, you know, considering like a lot of their promos, their pre-match promos aren't subtitled, which I just don't understand. Like, please, New Japan World, if there's one thing you could do, subtitles for your promos. But he does a very good job of explaining everything, because it can be kind of disorienting for someone to kind of jump into a New Japan show, and you could skip everything and just watch Wrestle Kingdom, and you could be just as invested in all those matches as someone who watched every show. And I think a lot of that has to do with Kevin Kelly's work. So that's why he should be in Slobberknocker.
I definitely, at least in terms of me, the only bad thing I have to say about Kevin Kelly is just when, like, the way he reacts to like a finisher, like especially early on, like when I started watching was when like the Young Bucks were still there. They were fighting for the tag championships or whatever they were doing, and just the way he says super kick, like that's the only thing I don't like about him. The way he enunciates for Rainmaker though, yeah, absolutely. I lose my shit.
Yeah, I gotta give him the Slobberknocker. All right, so moving on, we got Paul E. All right, so again, I think $2 steak at the very minimum. I think Paul Heyman. Again,
I would say by God.
I mean, like, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, no, because his like chemistry with JR was very funny. I thought they bounced off each other really nice. One of my favorite things. Go back and watch the Survivor Series 2001 main event, the winner take all match.
Winner take all.
And like JR and Paul Heyman are so fucking funny on that match, and like during the entrances are like both of them are so great. So yeah, I think for that alone, I'll give it to Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman has a very recognizable voice to the point where it's like you know him as soon as you hear him. So I'll give Paulie the by God. He earned it.
I love Paul Heyman. I love everything he does. That's really it. I just love Paul Heyman.
Vinnie Mac.
He's great.
I think he's like the poster boy for $2 steak, right?
He wasn't bad. He wasn't good. He was there.
I wouldn't say he wasn't good. I thought Vince McMahon actually. Well, now that I think about it,
okay, he wasn't like bottom of the barrel poopy dookie, and he wasn't like above and beyond the Call of Duty.
Well,
like he was
actually no. Like I'm really thinking about this.
Very good like middle ground commentator.
I mean, like I guess there wasn't anything like
he wasn't overbearing. Special. You also have to like the one thing I'm looking at it as is like I feel like his role on commentary. Like we know now that he's the president, but like that was his role in kayfabe.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I think Vince. What I really kind of like about Vince McMahon as a commentator is I thought he brought like a very not cheesy but a very like showmanship to the wrestling. Because again, like as much as people want to talk about wrestling being super legit and super serious, and it's a competition, it's a sport, and everything, yeah, I can get behind that any day. But it's also a show, and as a theater major, I highly get invested in the showmanship aspect of wrestling, and I think Vince brought a very grandiose voice to the commentary team, and I think that was probably Vince's biggest contribution to the commentary was that's got to be Kane, like that is so iconic. And I think just Vince McMahon's Vince-isms plastered over his commentary were great. I'll give him $2 stake. I think that's where he belongs. I think that's like a good fit for him. But I really do like me some classic old school
Vince commentary.
All right, so Matt Stryker, dude, fuck it, I'm putting him on hold, dude. Matt Stryker is the biggest tryhard on commentary I've ever heard in my life. Like WrestleMania 26 is probably the biggest example of this, because he like was out of his mind on that show, and I think it was because he was just so hyped to be like, oh, I'm commentating a WrestleMania. It's just
as I would be.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I'm not faulting Matt Stryker for it. It's just like I think a lot of Matt Strykers, like, whereas someone like Kevin Kelly is so genuine. And like again, like someone like a Gordon Soley or a Gorilla Monsoon, like pretty much anyone in S tier has just like this very genuine emotion to them, and they don't. It's like those four up there in Slobberknocker can do everything with relative ease. Where I felt like Matt Stryker was constantly on the edge of his seat trying to think of the next thing to say, and it just came off so phony. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Matt Stryker on commentary, or as a wrestler, or just I'm not a fan of Matt Stryker. So moving on.
I'm also not a fan of Matt Stryker at all.
So Taz.
I love Taz. I love me some Taz. I think TNA Taz was solid, especially with the whole Aces and Eights thing. But I think Taz really shined in like the early 2000s on SmackDown with Michael Cole.
I really liked him with Michael Cole. I think I would say $2 stake. I think that's a good fit for Taz. I think he had like he had an attitude to him. He had like there was a uniqueness about Taz. He wasn't like a lot of the other commentators. Taz was really cool to listen to. I thought, like, as a kid, he was like almost like the cool older brother watching with you. I think that was like kind of how best to describe Taz in those like early SmackDown days.
If I can just like piggyback off of that, I 100% agree. And the exact, like, I can name you the exact segment that just solidifies what you just said is when Vince McMahon's trying to hire a personal assistant and Stacy Keibler comes out afterwards. That is the perfect example of like the cool older brother watching with you. Like, he said what we were all thinking.
Right. Okay, Jim Cornette. I'm just gonna put him in $2 stake, right? Jim Cornette, $2 stake.
$2 stake, okay.
Yeah, I think that's good, because I think Jim Cornette, again, that Southern voice is a very it's just a very wrestling kind of thing. I was never like blown away by Jim Cornette commentary. I think it's just kind of middle of the road. Again, like, nothing wrong with it. It's just kind of average, kind of there. I don't really have a huge strong opinion on Jim Cornette commentary.
Jim Cornette as a person might be a different story. Yeah, I also don't really have a strong opinion. I've tried listening to his podcast. Not great, but like not terrible. I could listen.
Okay, to be fair, I could listen to Jim Cornette shoot interviews all day, and
his shoot interviews are fantastic.
I kind of do that pretty much on the reg. Okay, Byron Saxton, right, Scolded Dog, right? Like, or is he Mudhole?
Dude, I don't like Byron Saxton.
I mean, look, if we want to put him in Mudhole, that's fine. I think I thought he was kind of up there with like Beth Phoenix, where it's just like Beth Phoenix and Coachman, where he's just kind of like, he's not horrible. It's just like he's just so doesn't do anything.
He's so clearly the weakest link of any commentary team he's on.
That sounds like a Mudhole quality right there.
That's why I'm saying.
Yeah, let's fuck it, Mudhole. All right, moving on.
Especially if you look at who he's with right now, like with Samoa Joe. Dude, Samoa Joe made a instantaneous transition. From wrestler to commentator, and Samoa Joe is fantastic.
Yeah,
I don't know if we can put him up with like the Paul E's and the Shivanese and the. Or wait, what did you call him earlier? What did you call Tony?
Oh, Schiavone.
Schiavone, yeah, I don't know if he's up there with the Schiavones, but I would say he's like, I think Samoa Joe's like a good commentator. I'd put him at $2 steak.
I think $2 steak's a good fit for him. Maybe, and in a couple of years he could change that. I think like he's still kind of growing into the role, but he's doing a pretty good job.
I definitely would love to see him back in the ring though.
I honestly, dude, I don't know about that. I'm actually totally fine with him being on commentary. If I'm being 100%,
he's great on commentary. But
I think at this point, I would love
to see him with a world title.
Dude, honestly, I don't know about that. I really don't think I need to see Samoa Joe in the ring again. And it's nothing against him as a wrestler. It's just like I kind of just like this role for him, and I don't know. I think this is fine for him.
Fair enough.
Jesse Ventura. I think by God at the least.
I think by God at the least,
dude. One of my favorite,
again, one of those iconic voices.
Yeah, one of my
on commentary. Like you knew he was on commentary.
One of my favorite introductions was WrestleMania 6, when he's like, "I've been to the World Series, I've been to the Super Bowl, I've even been to the Rolling Stones," and then of course, like I can't even remotely do it as well as Jesse Ventura. But like I thought that was like one of the best introductions to anything I've ever heard. I really love Jesse Ventura. Again, like you said, probably like one of my favorite voices. I don't know. There was that weird like documentary they did of WrestleMania 19, like the Mania of WrestleMania, I think is what it was called. That Jesse Ventura, he was the narrator for the documentary, and like his voice, dude, it's like fuck Casey Kasem, man. Like that guy, Jesse Ventura, has the voice of a god. So, by God, he's got, because he has the voice of a god. He's got to go in by God. I just don't think he's as legendary as like the guys above him.
Yeah,
I mean, you could argue Kevin Kelly, but Kevin Kelly's like a personal pick for me. All right,
and I agreed with that.
Joey Styles.
So here's the thing.
Yeah, go for it.
We talked about it. Like a relatively middle of the road commentator. But then you get to his catchphrase of, "Oh my God." And you know, the first time I heard it, I was like, damn, that's pretty iconic. And then I heard it again. And again. And again. To the point where it's just so, like, played out. And he was, like I said, he was a middle of the road commentator at best. Well,
I know. I kind of disagree with the middle of the road thing, because I think it's like kind of the reverse. Like everyone remembers him for the "Oh my God," and I think that's like the worst thing to remember Joey Styles for.
That's what I'm saying. Like it was just so played out.
I don't think he should be $2 steak. I think he could be by God. I think I think he's a very competent like commentator. Like he would commentate by himself on those ECW shows, and like I think he has like a very snappy, very like his spectator
he's
voice
quick,
is very
he's
good.
Sharp, he's on it. I'll give you that.
I mean, I'm willing to compromise and say $2 steak. Like that's fine with me. Like I don't have like a real strong opinion on Joey Styles. I think it was more just out of like respect. Like I definitely respect him in his commentary.
I'll give him the by God respect.
You know what? Actually, no. I'm fucking. I'm gonna put him in $2 steak. Now that I just made my mind.
He's a $2 steak. All right, good.
Now I'm looking at who he's with. No, let's put him by God. He should be
by God.
Yeah, let's put him by God. Corey Graves, fucking mudhole. Fuck this guy.
Fucking mudhole. Definitely better than his partner. Definitely better than his partner.
Dude,
but is that really saying much?
I thought Corey Graves like had a lot of potential, and I thought he was like decent in NXT, but like he just became so WWE-ified over his tenure as a commentator, and
he literally just became a douche. Like his look was already douchey. No disrespect. Like his look was already douchey, and his commentary proved it. It's like the age-old adage of have somebody think you're stupid before you open your mouth and prove them right. And just like anything he says, just like it just irks me. It's annoying. I just can't get it. I just can't get behind it.
All right, JBL. This one's really tough.
I want your opinion first,
dude. Listen. I liked JBL in like 2007 for like a hot minute. And then
and Cole,
when he came back, and like it was like right after King's heart attack, right? So it was like 2012, 2013. It was like, oh, cool, JBL's back. And then like 2 weeks later, I was done with him. And by the end of his run, I wanted this fucker off commentary. I think JBL is kind of overrated. I think people really kind of suck this guy off a little too much. I think he almost became like a parody of himself towards the end of his run as commentator. It just became like ball game. Like it was just I was done. And the worst literally the worst call. My brother will still just randomly make a reference to this. The worst call I've ever heard from... Okay, I shouldn't say worst call. One of the worst calls I've ever heard from an announcer is when Sting made that return and fucking not Michael Cole, fucking JBL goes, "That's not Sting, that's a picture of Sting." That was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. And like my brother will just randomly text me like, "That's not Sting, that's a picture of Sting." And like, dude, for that, like, I'm willing to say Scolded Dog. I don't know about you.
I'll completely agree. I think Scolded Dog. I think that's good territory for him. Again, like, definitely not the worst, but like nowhere near.
He's probably the top dog of Scolded Dog, but like
I would say with what we have right there right now, top dog of Scolded Dog.
I mean, but like, yikes, it's kind of rough.
That just means he's head bitch. It's fine.
Renee Young, I feel bad because everyone loves Renee Young, but like she might have to be Mudhole. Like Beth Phoenix might be better than Renee Young.
Okay, let's not say anything we're gonna regret now.
I mean, if you want to put her in the dog pile, like
I don't even know if I would put Renee Young in the dog pile.
Wait,
like that first night when she no, hear me out. That first night when she was on commentary, when she had like just gotten the script, she adapted so quick, and I was like, yes, she needs to be on commentary. Like,
we're not putting her in $2
other people.
I will veto that immediately. She is not getting higher than Scolded Dog.
I mean, dude, I would say she's better than any of the other people in Scolded Dog. To the point where I don't think she belongs. Dude, that first night, she was fucking electric Zoo Boogaloo.
We just said the first, like JBL's first night, like, oh yeah, it was cool, and then like what happened to JBL?
Because they just kept feeding her
I hit my knee on the fucking desk. Sure, that was gonna be like
that's what you get. That's what you get for talking bad about Renee Young.
Dude, this is the perks of me having the fucking mouse.
Fair enough, dude, I guess. I would have said at least $2 steak.
Oh, get out of here. No fucking way.
Like, not even at least $2 steak. I would have just been like, yeah, it's just $2 steak. Get him up there. He made this entire quote list. Put him up there.
Fucking, like, the leader of the pack, man.
Oh,
dude,
is he...
Oh, I'll put him over all of them. Are you fucking serious?
You're gonna put him over Monsoon?
Yes.
Dude, I'm sorry.
Dude, get out of here.
AEW Jim Ross. AEW Jim Ross. Just think about that. Just think about AEW Jim Ross. Just think about Wrestle Kingdom 2 years ago, Jim Ross. Just think about it. Just think about it. Just think about it.
Fuck.
Literally, just think about it.
Fuck. Do you know how...
You're telling me he's better than Monsoon?
Do you know how... Like, dude, there are so... Like, Jim Ross, like, single-handedly made Attitude Era television 10 times better by just having his voice. And, like, I know, we talked a lot about Heenan and Monsoon and their voices being over a lot of great moments. Dude, like...
But Jim Ross is...
You know that My Way promo with The Rock and Stone Cold, like, a.k.a. the best promo WWE's, like, ever produced?
Yes,
if Jim Ross wasn't a part of it, it would be, like, knocked down so many notches. Fuck that. Like, no. No, Jim Ross is like the GOAT, man. He's in S tier. He fucking made the fucking
dude. I know he made it. I know he made the Attitude Era. I know he made the calls that like are the most iconic calls in wrestling history. But goddamn, his AEW commentary is so fucking miserable so forced.
No, it's yes, and I obviously I'd be a hypocrite because like I took everyone's careers into account when I bashed Renee Young and JBL.
Everyone else,
I get that. Yeah. But when your main body of work in your prime is so fucking
fucking phenomenal,
I don't get a flying fuck. All right, moving on. Jim Ross's partner in crime, Jerry the King Lawler.
Okay, now here we can. I definitely don't think King is in Slobberknocker.
I'm really ready to fight you on this. Look, if you don't want to put King in Slobberknocker, that's fine. King. I'm really gonna be mad if you.
I would put him in Bygone.
Okay, that's fine. We're about to fight. If you were like a lot of nerds,
no, King is not $2 steak.
Fucking like
King is not $2.
Bash King. I know King has had again many boners in his life in more ways than one. Heyo.
Oh, thank you.
So
yes, sir. Him and his puppies. That's right.
Listen, I know King has his shortcomings. King is an amazing heel commentator. In the 90s especially, he bounced off Vince McMahon so well as the heel commentator. There's something... and the other thing about King is I feel like King's faults in the modern day come from the fact that he's just not in like as much in touch with the product. He just isn't as knowledgeable. You can tell when they bring him back for a hot minute that like he has not been watching at all. He has no idea what's going on. So I think that's where you get a lot of the troubles with King on commentary. But he has a lot of tricks, and he can really just keep a conversation going, and he can just keep talking. He's a very good talker in general, just a good promo, just in all aspects of wrestling. So I think King more than deserves, like, personally, I would put him in Slobberknocker,
agree with
but for the sake of compromise,
I mean,
I'll put him in By God.
By the end of this, when we look back at the rest of these, I might be willing to throw him in Slobberknocker.
Rocky Romero.
Rocky, I love me some Rock. I love me some Rock Romero.
I think my mind's telling me he should be $2 steak, but like my body is saying like. Dude,
my body's saying like, by God, Slobberknocker. Dude, I love Rocky on commentary.
It's our tier list.
Fuck it. It's
Rocky
our tier
Romero
list.
and By God, he's fucking awesome. I love Rocky.
I will say personally, like, nothing but respect for Kevin Kelly. I think Rocky Romero personally is like he's my favorite like mid-match commentator. However, again, like going off of what you were saying, like when you look back and you like what goes on during and like the entire product, like the entire show, Kevin Kelly is the quintessential. He explains the stories the best. If you haven't been watching, you can listen to him speak for 2.5 minutes and you'll know exactly what's going on. I just think Rock is the best when it comes to like the or like the ongoing match.
Yeah, I really like. He's kind of like Taz in that like older brother kind of deal.
He's like the cool older brother.
Yeah.
I was watching Wrestle Kingdom. I know you were watching Wrestle Kingdom. He was literally just talking about Bitcoin half the time. I was like, damn. I was like, talk about somebody who knows how to relate to what's going on. Oh, look at that. All look who it is.
Mouthfuck Tom. I think, like, dude.
Mouthfuck Tom?
$2 steak. Like, right? Or, nah, I mean, like, kind of. I mean, he's
like
okay,
Scolded
right?
Dog? Like Scolded Dog?
I mean, like, if you want to put him in Scolded Dog, that's fine. Because, like, I mean, like, if you look at who's in $2 steak, does he really belong? Not really.
No.
Yeah. All right. That's as much as I can say about Tom Phillips. He's just kind of there.
All right.
Nigel McGuinness.
Now, I love Nigel McGuinness.
Yeah. No, I think Nigel McGuinness is solid.
It's a shame he's on NXT UK because, like, I'm not gonna watch that. I would say, By God, minimum. I love Nigel McGuinness. The way he like, dude, the way him and Morrow used to bounce off each other, absolutely.
You know what? Fuck it. I'll throw him in there.
I just love the story that he tells.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we have to save him for last.
Mike Tenay.
His voice.
Yeah, dude.
His voice like got me into Impact.
I feel like he's got to be By God too. Am I crazy for thinking that?
I mean, he's the most iconic Impact announcer, I would say.
Yeah, and like,
TNA,
honestly,
whatever.
Like, I mean, I know we have a lot of By Gods, but like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, these are great commentators.
They're all valid.
All right, so.
Now, do you want to explain what we have here?
Yes. It is not a mistake that I put Michael Cole on here twice, because there are two Michael Coles that I want to talk about. Michael Cole, current day Michael Cole, 90s Michael Cole, just, generic old Michael Cole. I think Scolded Dog, right? Because like he's normally shit most of the time. He has his bright moments. He's not like super offensive. He's just kind of like like bleh, Michael Cole. You know what? Listen. I
know how you feel.
I
know how you.
Listen.
Yep, that's fine.
Just heel Michael.
Yes.
Heel Michael Cole. All right.
Yes.
Is without a doubt the worst commentator in the history of existence, and I don't like Susan St. James from WrestleMania 2. Fuck you. All right. Like,
Shut up.
Heel Michael Cole actually ruined television. Never has a commentator ever. Like, these fuckers down here in Mudhole, these fuckers have
everybody that's down there.
They might be offensive to listen to. They might piss you off, but very few people, no one, as a matter of fact, can touch just the level of absolute horror That is
Horror.
heel Michael Cole. But like the problem with heel Michael Cole is that he was also the face of the company in terms of the announce team. He was the person that introduced you to every show, and then he proceeded to be the most annoying motherfucker.
Obnoxious.
Dude, and you started watching in the heel Michael Cole era. Like
I did.
2010,
I started
2011.
watching. Dude, you don't have to remind me.
How the fuck did you stay?
I know that my wrestling started with, "Can I have your attention, please?"
The thing is, like,
shut the fuck up.
And like when he just like, obviously all the announcers had their favorites, but like, dude, he literally butt fucked Miz every day.
Dude, oh my god, he let Miz butt fuck him. He let Jack Swagger butt fuck him. He let A-Rye butt fuck him. He let anybody that was affiliated with that butt fuck
and like
him.
the fucking coal mine. And like, here's the thing that drives me crazy.
My god,
I've talked about the Tumblr wrestling community, which I think is worse than any wrestling community on the internet because they were so overtly positive as opposed to most wrestling communities, which are like super negative. Tumblr
Toxic.
is like so fucking positive that it's toxic because they're like, oh my god, Michael Cole, like I'm a coal miner. I'm like, you are literally like you're an idiot. Like, and this isn't one of those things where I'm like, I'm tired of being like politically correct and being like, oh my god, like everyone can like what they like. No, if you like heel Michael Cole, like you obviously like there is something wrong. There has to be. Like,
but you hate wrestling.
Yeah, I think you just actively want to see wrestling burn because no one could ever want heel Michael Cole on their television. Heel Michael Cole is just something that should never be touched again. And I'm
heel
glad
Michael Cole is foul.
Dude, like,
it is an abomination. It is an insult to my eyes and ears to have to see and listen to it.
Here's the thing. I like obviously like modern day Michael Cole and like I'm just gonna lump the 90s and modern day Michael Cole into this. I don't think he deserves Mudhole, not just because like he's a shit commentator. It's mainly just because he's so vastly superior than heel Michael Cole, than his persona of heel Michael Cole, that like I think he's just being scolded dog because there's just such a wide gap. Even though Michael Cole still sucks, like
he still buns
so much better. Like dude, I'm like my hands are like maniacally moving. Like I can't, dude. This is.
I can hear it in your voice.
I can't wrap my head around heel Michael Cole. This like I don't think people really understand. Like remember when we would hang out with Emily at the desk in college and like she knew like it was a joke that like how much I hated Michael Cole, but like I couldn't explain to someone unless they just, and you can't even like watch one show. You have to like live through that.
You have to watch a couple.
No, it's not even a couple. Like you have to like
the whole thing.
Be there watching every show and just listening to heel Michael Cole. It's just like, oh my god, it's just so fucking bad. And like,
it's bonds.
Dude, I think I'm like actually losing my mind a little bit. Like,
you've been waiting for this for a while. Dude, you've been waiting for your Michael Cole rant.
The problem is, this is the person you skyrocket in front of the camera and say, this is the person you should listen to, and he's the most annoying fucker of all time. And there have been some like heel announcers. Like look at fucking S tier and by God, like Heenan,
like King, look at them. They get it, they got it.
Heel announcers because they weren't fucking annoying, and it's just oh my god, and like it grew into something it should never have grown into because Michael Cole became his own character, and sure, King and Bobby Heenan, they were their own characters, but you know what the difference is? You know what the biggest fucking difference is? They were
their own characters before. They were over.
That's also true.
They were good at their job.
And Michael Cole, this culminates in a WrestleMania match, a series of matches with King, like everything about
the dreaded kiss my foot match.
And listen, you're never supposed to hate your commentators. Again, there are heel commentators, but you like the fact that they banter. Like that's the glory of a heel commentator because you want that back and forth between your commentators. You don't want an echo chamber. You don't want people just unanimously agreeing on everything they say. Like you want the back and forth because it's funny, it's enjoyable, it's something that you can join in because like
it's realistic.
Yeah, and like when you hear a heel commentator saying something stupid in a playful way, you can kind of bounce back. But Michael Cole just was a degenerate. He just made everything worse. It's awful. Like I just, oh my god. Like I can't even like heel Michael Cole isn't even a good tier. It's just like fucking like fuck off. Like that's
it's just ass poopy fart.
God. All right. So listen, I'm sorry, but that's gonna be
with that.
My name. This is the tier list. It is up for interpretation, except for this. Okay,
for this.
Like, I would have more respect for someone who was like, Jim Ross is Mudhole than putting heel Michael Cole in any of, like, even in like,
above.
Yeah, like, I would have more respect for the person who says JR sucks. Because I'd be like, you know what? That's your opinion. But if someone said, you know what, heel Michael Cole was probably my favorite commentator, that guy,
you're just wrong. You're just wrong.
Dick. My name is Jerichoholic 8704.
I'm Edgehead3131.
I'll see you guys later.